like a set topic that you're
So
talking about,
today I am asking, and I'm talking to people, at what age do you think adulthood sets in now?
Oh,
Like
cool.
you go from, in a lot of cultures, right? Some cultures at 12 or 14 or 16 when you read a religious amount of texture or something like that. In America, it used to be, 17 or 18 when you could go join the war and go to work as a steel worker or an iron person. Now, it's kind of up in the air. Is it when you go to college? Is it 21 when you can buy tobacco and alcohol? Or is it when you start a family? So when, and if you could introduce yourself again.
Oh, yeah. My name's Ezra.
Very nice to meet you, Ezra. Dan.
Cool.
When do you think adulthood sets in for most, and when do you think it set in for you if it has? And by adulthood, I mean like going from a dependent, like you're dependent on your parents, or like if you're adopted, the system, to independent, where you're making your own decisions and figuring out life entirely by yourself.
I kind of have a hot take on this, I guess.
Okay.
I think that like adulthood isn't really, there is, I guess, the concept of adulthood, I don't know if it resonates with me a ton. I think that there's kind of just children, and then there's people who have children.
Okay.
So I think that in my opinion, it's like once you have a kid, I don't have a kid, but I think once you have a kid, you're responsible inherently for something more than yourself. And obviously there are bad parents. There are a lot of people who unfortunately neglect their kids. But like in an ideal world, or not even ideal world, I think the majority of the time, when you have a kid, when you have someone that you're responsible for completely, then that's like your moment of adulthood. That also could be like, someone who takes care of someone else, like an elderly person, or like even like I guess an animal in some cases.
Okay.
So like I knew there were some kids in my high school, for example, who like took care of their grandparents, and like they were like so mature, because it wasn't like, oh, like I have to be like, oh, like I have a curfew at 10, but like I'm not home by 10, it's fine. It's like, no, they had to be home at a certain time to like help their grandparent like go to bed, and like that.
Medicine.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? Okay.
So that kind of maturity, I think, you can only achieve when you're literally forced to not just take care of yourself. You have to take care of someone else as well.
So maturity is kind of adequated to external responsibilities.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. When do you think like people kind of figure out what they're responsible for? Do you think it's cast onto them, like you lose your parents and all you have left is your grandmom and you have to take care of her, or like you lose your parents and like you gotta take care of your brothers and siblings, or you go out and you're 18 and you have a kid and like now you have a child? Is it something like that, or do you think it's responsibility kind of sets in when they go out and make that decision of like, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna start a family today, like I'm gonna go out and like propose to my girlfriend?
So like whether that like drive comes internally or externally, I think, I mean, I guess it could be both. Probably a combination of both internal and external factors. I think, some people, like for myself, I can't imagine myself having a kid, for like 10 plus years, just because the career that I'm choosing, I'm not really going to be able to make that much money until I'm older. But some people, like let's say you do a trade, by the time you're in your mid-20s or early 20s even, you're making enough money to support a family. And so, I guess that's both an internal and an external factor, because you're internally choosing a career or a path that, you could be able to provide at a younger or older age.
Right.
But then also you're, like, for example, I was fortunate enough to be born in a family where I'm not in a position where I have to work 40 hours a week immediately from when I graduate high school.
Right.
I have that buffer of I can take out loans, whereas some people can't.
Right.
So in that way, I'm privileged, and that's an external factor.
Okay.
So I don't know, does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and I believe we touched on it a little bit. My next question is, how did you go about picking your career and making your decision of what you want to do for a lifetime? A lot of young people go from high school and they pick their college courses, and they're either locked in for 2, for 8 years, you know what I mean? And sometimes if you change what you want to do, you have to almost restart,
Yeah.
or like you lose a lot of credits or they're wasted, right? How were you confident, and what experience did you have that led you to your decision that you made for your future?
This is a great question because I'm applying to graduate school right now, and it's basically just that question on the application. Basically, in my first I want to say, you know, it's a bit my application and this answer that I'm about to give is a bit of a lie because I'm never 100% confident, and I think most people aren't 100% confident in what they want to do.
Right.
So there's always that level of uncertainty. Like, did I make the right decision? I was just the other day thinking about, like, man, like I should have just gone into finance and made a bunch of money. You know, I have a few friends that are like business majors, and they're like right out of college, or some of them even like right out of high school. You know, making all this money, and I'm like, I'm not gonna ever make that much money, let alone when I'm 30. But anyway, the longer answer is that my name, Ezra Goff. It translates to Ezra means helper in Hebrew, and Goff means hope in Yiddish. And you could kind of loosely translate my name to mean helping others find hope. And so I'm a psychology major, and I want to become a clinical psychologist, and basically just be a therapist. And I kind of, in my name kind of inspired me in a way. I was always told from a young age that like, oh, you're a helper, you're a helper. And I didn't resonate with that at first, sort of, because, help when I was younger meant like do extra chores or whatever. But
Right.
as I grew older, I ended up during COVID, instead of going into college or whatever, I decided I wanted to do AmeriCorps, which is where you do like a 10 months where you get paid a little bit, but you just get paid enough to live. And I was like building houses in New Orleans.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And the whole time we were building affordable housing, and it was in a neighborhood that got destroyed by Katrina.
Right.
So it was very fulfilling, and I kind of realized like the things that I find most fulfilling in life are helping other people. And then I decided to major in psychology, and then I kind of have gone back and forth about like what exactly degree or whatever I want to do for psychology, but I definitely want to become a clinical psychologist.
That's great. So, and the first part of your statement, never compare yourself to anybody around you, your friends, or what they have. Their passion and what has driven them to do that, just like your name and your passion has driven you to help others, they have a different kind of track, right?
Sure.
So that may not be the end, that may be the top of their track. You never know. And thank you for that input. I just want to say, helping others in a psychology standpoint, I go around the world and I talk to people, and I think helping people, like building houses, is great, right? But like we always go to that old proverb, like if you teach a man to fish, right, he'll have fish forever.
Sure.
If you give him a fish, he'll have fish for a day.
Sure.
You going and being able to help people decipher how to make a decision, how to render if that was a good or a bad decision, and how to feel about it, sets them up for a life of healthy, happy,
I agree.
mental living. Is there any piece of life advice you can give out there for the people that you've used?
I'm only 22, so I feel a little unconfident in my ability to give life advice to the average person. But I guess the only thing that I've kind of noticed, I mean, I've heard this a bunch of times, but like when you do something that you love, you're not working, and when I, even like my classes, for example, when I have classes that I find interesting, it doesn't matter how long it takes to study or work on it or talk to the professor about. It's easy for me. And then even if a class is easy and I find it boring or I'm not interested in it, it's really hard for me to be motivated. The same is true for jobs I've worked. I've worked in factories and really grueling, like outside hard labor, and there were some times where I just was like, why am I even doing this? And if you can't easily answer that, it's so hard to motivate yourself to keep on going. But when I was in New Orleans, it was like 110 degrees out, and you're working like 8 hours a day, manual labor, but it's for a good cause. So you feel like it's worth it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah,
Is
for
there my last question for
Sure.
you? Is there a dream you're currently chasing? An aspiration in life doesn't have to be, success of a career. Doesn't have to be anything in particular. Just one thing that you want out of life. The 100 years you may get here. What is one thing you want to do, acquire, or just know by the time you're done?
I mean, outside of like more like immediate like physical things, like career success, have a family, have
Right.
kids.
Like one unique dream.
Yeah.
Some people want a purple Lamborghini.
Sure.
Others want, an RV to travel the United States
Sure.
and see
Yeah.
every state.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a hard question. It's a hard question because, I guess one thing is like to feel like spiritually fulfilled, I suppose, because I was raised and I am Jewish, and every Jewish person would say this to a certain extent, but it's like your Jewish journey that you go on, and it's kind of hard to, especially when you're young, it's kind of hard to see like how religion and the spiritual side of life fits into your life, especially when you're younger and in college. And I think one goal for me is to find a version of Judaism or a community or something that I feel like I really both belong to and feel motivated in being a part of. I've been part of that community kind of like briefly, like I've been to like certain services or like certain communities for like a weekend or whatever, where I was like, wow, this is amazing, but I've never really like lived in a community like that, and or like found something that I feel like truly I belong to, and I think that would be something really cool to have at some point in my life. Yeah.
Amen. Well, I hope you do find that place of belonging. I think a lot of young people struggle with that. I'm 29 and I still haven't found that perfect home. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
totally.
thank you very much
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
sitting down with us.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
appreciate your time. Give us a follow and you'll see your interview this week.
Cool.
Well,
Awesome.
maybe next week.
Okay.
We'll pick up. What was the first kind of decision you made that was like a difficult decision as an adult for you? Or like one you were like, oh.
I guess trying to figure out what to do with my life, like what I want to major in. I mean, I still don't know exactly what type of job I want, but that feels like a big thing. Like, I have to take that step now and figure out what type of path I want to be on.
What do you think is helping you make that decision? That's a very important decision to make, because like structuring the pathway for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah. I think figuring out who I am has been good. Figuring out what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, things I enjoy, things I don't enjoy. That helps me figure out what I want to do, like for the rest of my life. I don't like math. I'm never gonna be something in business or math, probably.
Okay.
I like talking to people, so I'll probably have a job in that realm. But yeah, figuring that out, and also weirdly enough, like if I'm interested in a job, I like to go on the internet and listen or read about people who have those jobs and kind of see what they're saying and what their day in their life might look like.
Have you ever thought, like, that's a tough thing for people to kind of like figure out what they want to do, right? Have you ever thought about like an internship or like going and like helping in a company, or what is it that you're kind of leaning towards?
I'm kind of leaning towards either, I mean, my major is communications and social influence.
Okay.
So I'm kind of leaning towards human, like HR, or maybe PR, and then I kind of am interested in advertising a little bit.
It's a very broad spectrum.
It is, yeah. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I would be interested in interning anywhere in a place like that. And Temple Temple has a lot of good programs like help you get connected to internships. So I'm relying on that a little.
What are you most excited for in life? You know, you're just kind of starting out, like you're kind of stepping stones set up and placed out. What are you most excited for the journey?
I'm excited to get a job that I like, hopefully,
Okay.
and go to work and be happy that I'm doing something that I like and I'm making money. And I'm excited that I can be able to, when I'm more financially independent, take care of myself and take care of the people I love a little more. I can
Okay.
buy them things, I can pay for things for them, and I'm excited for that because I like doing that now, but I'm like a broke college student, so I can't really do that too much.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. And as you get older, you'll want to do that less.
Yeah.
What is one dream you're currently chasing in life? This is something I ask everybody, and it seems like sometimes people are never asked this question.
Yeah,
Do you think about that question ever? Like yourself?
I do.
Like, what is my dream? What do I want to do here, and why am I here?
well, I guess in a broader sense, my dream would be, I don't know, to be like a good mother or aunt or whatever, and be happy in life. But in a more, I guess, like commercial sense, my dream is to get a Volkswagen Beetle
Okay.
convertible with a hard top,
Okay, what color?
light blue, but any color will do.
Okay. They're kind of going down in production. They aren't making as many. People aren't buying
Yeah.
the Beetles as often anymore.
I know. They stopped making them.
What? Entirely?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that they stopped making them completely.
yeah.
Wow. So what year are you going to go with? This is kind of... They got the old school ones. And then
I've
they
looked
got
into it a little.
Okay.
Some of the models aren't as good as the other ones, so maybe I don't remember which models are the best. I have to look into it, but
Yeah, I don't know much other than you punch somebody when you see one.
yeah, I want to be able to be the reason people punch their friends or their siblings or something.
There you go.
That'd be funny.
Violence.
No, not really.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
But yeah.
What is one piece of life advice you've used throughout your existence, or like you've given to other people to help them through a tough time?
Well, I think something that's helped me, advice I give to other people a lot, is, and sometimes it's hard to follow. It's hard, but you'll never regret being kind.
I regret it all the time.
Really?
Yes. But I think it's because a lot of people don't have that same mentality. So when I am kind, it's often to people I value need it the most. And sometimes either they haven't had people that are kind to them, so they don't know how to accept it properly, or how to say thank you, or like how to even communicate that properly. And others just take, right? So you're kind to somebody and then they just take it and then they walk away. Do you regret being kind then?
No,
Okay.
because I think you still did what you could and you still did the right thing.
Amen. So earlier I said hopefully that doesn't change for you, but the older you get, more people will imagine like a tree, right? 1,000 leaves on it, right? Each one a kind leaf, right? There are people you're going to deal with that they take a leaf and they leave a seed, right, for a new leaf to grow. And then others will take a whole branch, right? So they'll take one leaf and then you're like, oh, you need another, and another, and another. So I value that people like you are beautiful people, right? And they leave their plants and their leaves out, but the world doesn't have very many full trees anymore. There are just people taking from one another. So I hope that you guys take her life advice and be kind, because you shouldn't regret it at all.
If you're hanging out with the right people, you'll keep getting seeds, I think. If you surround yourself with the right people, hopefully.
Amen. Is there any hobbies you do in Philadelphia? Are you from Philadelphia?
I'm from the greater Philadelphia area, I guess. I'm from like northwest suburbs.
Okay.
But I've been like coming here my whole life. I'm very familiar.
What's your favorite thing to do in Philly?
I like to people watch.
Okay. This is a perfect place.
Yeah.
I haven't parked here yet. I'm usually like all over. Usually parks. It's easy. Like, but it seems like a whole row of food trucks is
Oh, yeah.
like the best spot. You just
yeah.
got casual walkers. What's the craziest thing you've seen people watching? Like just sitting. And you're like, oh, wow, did that really just happen?
I've seen someone defecate on the sidewalk.
Did they know you were watching?
I don't know if they cared.
Oh.
Yeah, I've seen some other.
Did
Not-
they wipe? They weren't prepared.
No, I've seen some other not too pleasant bodily functions occur.
Oh.
Also, that I won't get into.
Yeah.
I don't want my digital footprint to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was weird.
Well, people, there's rooms. They have doors. Some of them have toilets in them.
I guess they can't hold it.
Yeah. I've never pooped on a sidewalk. But, you know. Well, I hope to not end on that note.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. What is one of your favorite things other than people watching to do in Philly? Like a group activity or a community activity? Like what is one community you associate yourself with? Like we see the motorcycle riders, we see like one-wheel people, we see people that throw fire and do hula hooping or tightrope walkers. What is like one hobby almost?
I don't know if it's a hobby, but I love fashion and I love seeing what, I guess it's kind of like people watching, but I love seeing what people are wearing.
Okay.
And I feel like if you see someone on the street with like a good outfit, then you're kind of like, oh, they're cool. And I love to like analyze what everyone's wearing,
Okay.
or especially around school because people are dressed really well here. I don't know. I guess that doesn't really answer your question well.
No, it does. It's funny you bring up Fashion Week. Fashion. It is Philly Fashion Week this
I know.
week. Oh, you know. Okay.
Yeah.
So they'll be having events all week. I think some of them are at the Fashion District in the mall, and then the others are at Live Casino down off Packer Ave, I think it is. So
Exciting.
if you didn't know like the schedule, you can check it out on phillyfashionweek.org. They're great people that run the company, Kevin and Rob. But it is a fun event. Have you ever been?
I haven't. No.
Okay, so they do like I don't know if it's Wednesday or Thursday this week, but one of those days inside the fashion mall, they have a runway for college students and high school students that are doing designs in their own, like they're learning their program and they're making their own designs. So they have their whole show is just young designers.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, so maybe something in your realm of things to check out.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. I know. I think it's 5:30. The event starts.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely look into that.
phillyfashionweek.org is the website.
All right.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you sitting down with us.
It was a
and
pleasure.
chatting. Yeah, absolutely.
Made my day.
Yeah, well, if you want to see your interview, it'll be up on our Gram and the YouTube.